Right, hello, good morning. Let's see, just need some music here. It's probably good. Yeah, I'm feeling good in the 80s mix, that's good. Okay, so yeah, I haven't streamed for a few days, like especially through the holidays. It's difficult to get that stream done. It's gonna be easier, like our youngest is starting school after summer, so I'm pretty pumped about. Well, I try to control my expectations, but I think, well, certainly the dynamics of the family is going to change, but he's also going to be more busy with friends, hopefully. Like for him, like it's going to be such what's it called, like, suddenly you just feel like they're always there and it gets too much, and then suddenly they're not there at all, and then you miss the hell out of them. It's just the irony of life. Anyways, so then I should be able to stream more, which is going to be nice. Anyway, so what we're going to do today is basically I've been working on this Divergent Teams app, and I've been using some AI to build it. So we're going to review some code, but I'm also going to implement like a last thing before it's kind of ready to be demoed, so people understand the concept. Yeah, I guess that's it. Cool. So what I've been working on is we now have people or users in here. I've added some caching. We have teams and we have tasks, and those are the key resources. And I want to explore if that's all you really need, because I think the concept of a project doesn't make sense. I want this app to be human centric. So as you can see, just the main view of the app is your human point of view into this collaborative work, right? It's your week, it's your stuff that needs to be done, and everything else that's like collaborative is in the background. And when you think about projects, a project is just a non-moving entity. Like you have the project and you're adding issues to it or tasks, and then kind of nothing happens. But if you have a team, you have like the team is the people that make the project happen. So why not just have a team for the project? Basically, instead of creating projects, you create teams that do things, right? So team name can be like related to a project. And you can argue like, why don't have both? Maybe teams are different. But I know from experience that teams, things that you think are only teams, like a support team, they also have tasks, right? Without that being a specific project. I think project creates this like artificial constraint around doing things, while a team does things, like that's for sure. So that resolves that tension, and then it keeps it human-centric. You're just bringing people together to do things. That's what it's about. Anyways, and like you can click these things now. You have a task here. And you can see, so this is what we're gonna fix, that you can create it to do or assign it to do. And yeah, and you also have the same for support. That's basic. Yeah, and then so you can click some task, and I can go in here, click this thing, and then we have the conversation related to that to do, which would be the same as here. Cool. Maybe we can start with like trying to run what I think is going to be like the actual onboarding experience. Let's see. Let's go into the database. Let's remove the to-dos. Let's see. Let's remove the to-dos and let's remove the conversations. Hæ? Ja, det er jo derfor den var lukka. Det var jo derfor den var lukka. Den var lukka. Ja. Cool. Yes, and then I actually also run a second dev server here, which is gonna be the other person, which is Jill. Oh, fuck. Why is this not working? Why isn't this working? This should be working. Oh, for fuck's sake. Doesn't it show anything? Of course it doesn't. This is working on my laptop. Why isn't this working here? Dagnagit. Why isn't it working? I think there's like a... Yeah, that's... Domains, authentication. I think there's like redirects. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, I think we need to add... Oh, this is interesting. Why did it work on... Why did it work on the other one? It's interesting. Okay, let's see now. Sign in. Oh, for fuck's sake. Why is it working? 5174. Maybe it takes a second. Localhost 5174. Wait a minute. Let's see what it... Oh, is it using the wrong... Oh, maybe it's in Firebase. Authorized domains. No, it's just localhost. For fuck's sake. Why does this work on my laptop and not here? It makes no sense. Jill 173. Okay, I'm gonna try signing in again on my laptop. Oh, I get the same error. Oh, did they change something? I'm not even able to sign in. Oh, this is weird. They must have changed something. Oh, okay. I'm gonna ask AI. Oh. No, oh, for fuck's sake. This was a rough start for a stream. Let's see. To find no. Oh. So I'm having this weird experience. Suddenly, when I try to sign in to my test organization on Work OS, it's not working. I get this something went wrong error. But this was just working, and I have no idea what happened here. And I reviewed the Work OS account. It does allow for localhost 5173 and 5174 for sign in. And it doesn't make any sense to me. And it just says something went wrong. I guess it says, yeah, in the URL, it says invalid connection selector. What's going on here? Oh, maybe it's oh, it could maybe be oh, come on. It could maybe be do I have any secrets in the end? Let me just double check that. No, it's just organization ID. Maybe something happened to the organization ID. They can't just change that, right? That's weird. One Q. Yeah, no. Yeah, that's the same. Okay. Oh. No, I have that end variable set. You can read it yourself. But yeah, maybe we could log out and see what organization ID it actually tries to use. Ah, this is boring. Sorry about this. Oh, try removing the quotes. Okay. Yeah, maybe I did something there. I'm so bad at everything that's... No. Nope, still not working. Same error. Right, let's see if we have... Oh, but the thing is undefined. The ID is undefined in the log, so something's going wrong there. Oh. I don't have a Vite config. Oh, I do. Oh, I moved it. Yeah, I moved to other packages. Oh, okay. And I think the reason it was working is because I was already signed in, right? There we go. So 73, this is Christian at example.com, Christian Alfoni, engineering. Nice. My bad. And then we're gonna have Jill sign in here. This is Jill at example.com. Jill Jellybean. She's HR. By the way, I hate that term. Human resources. It really needs to be redefined. I actually have a previous colleague I discussed who works in human resources, and we discussed this. Like, she's thinking about like how badly defined that role is and what human resources should be and do. And I argued with like, and she wants to do something about it, but she's not sure how to approach it. And I suggested that what if you define a new title for the role and for the department? Like, don't call it human resources, call it something else, and then explain why you needed to change the name. Because it's so dehumanizing to be called like a resource. It's insane. Anyways, let's try to do the demo. So what I was thinking is, okay, so Jill already works at the company. I'm joining the company. So the first thing here would be onboard Christian Alfone. So I'm going to create that to do for myself, right? And I've just created a to do. So nothing's really happening yet. This is something that I don't have to do right away. It's not going to trigger anything. It will be there until I actually act on it. And the way I act on it, there we go. The way I act on it is by like asking, hi, how are you doing, Christian? Oh, that was a little bit weird now. Okay, so what happened now is that I started a conversation on this to do, right? And I mentioned my name. So what's going to happen in the background, it's going to take a little bit of time because the triggers are cold. And hopefully I have money on my open AI account. So what's going to happen in the background is that it saw that conversation started. It saw that I was mentioned, and now it created a to-do. But it changed the text of it, right? It looked at, from Jill's perspective, it's me being onboarded. But from my perspective, it's Jill wanting to onboard me, right? But we're sharing this conversation. So this is how conversations work. You just create a to-do because you want to do something, right? There's a reason why you reach out to someone. And this is how you group conversations. It's like you just create this to-do. And as long as you're not like interacting with the actual chat, it's just a to-do. But as soon as you start typing something in the chat, any mentions of people, they're going to be notified about this conversation as a to-do, but the perspective is like flipped. I am doing fine. Thanks for an amazing onboarding. And then the idea here is, I was thinking maybe you could start. I was thinking I added you to the support team and wanted to suggest that you can work on some task. What do you think? Let's see. So yeah, let's see. So I can, oh, who's the support team? Oh, this is the support team. And yeah, let me check this task. Oh, interesting. Yeah. And then I should be able to click create to do. And that should, yeah, exactly, create a to do for me to work on that task. Oh, can't I? Oh, yeah, I remember. I don't have the background thing here. That should be triggered. Or the overlay. Okay, cool. I just added it. I'll get to it as soon as I can. Something like that, right? And now I'll continue like adding my own to-dos. If I need help from someone, I can go in here and yeah, let's see what happens now. Jill, I am confused about this task. Could you help me? I'm actually not sure what's going to happen now. I think it's going to create a to-do here. Let's see. I'm not sure if the demo is good. Like in my, I often experience this. Like in my mind, I have a very, very clear picture of how this is going to work, and like in an actual organization with multiple people and how they're going to interact and how it's going to affect them and everything. And my ideas are often like that. I think that's kind of my thing. I have this ability to have a lot of complexity in my head, and create these like very clear pictures. Or to me, they're very clear. They might not actually have many details, but there's something about like distilling and conceptualizing complex ideas. And then I have a hard time communicating it. I've gotten better over the years, but still, the ideas just get more and more complex, and it gets harder and harder to explain them. Okay, so this didn't work. So let's fix that. And we're going to use AI for that. Because it should actually be looking at the to-do and the message itself to figure out who to create, or what's a mention. Okay. Wait, what's going on here? Clear. Sometimes this thing isn't working. Like, I don't know if it's actually cleared. So I'm working on preparing a demo, and as part of the demo, I have a to-do that mentions a task. But when I open that to-do and create a message that mentions another person, there is no to-do generated for that other person. So basically, I know that if I create a to-do and in the to-do I mention a person, and then I write a message, then it's going to generate a to-do. That's working. But if the to-do just doesn't have any mention of anything, or just a task in this case, and then I mention the person in the initial message instead, it's not generating a to-do for that other person. Could you debug this and fix it, please? Yeah, so let's get the demo kind of working first, and then we can review some code and see how it works. Yeah, while we're waiting, I'm gonna show you this is my new thing. I I want to have the air in my work environment as good as possible. And I can't remember. Yes, I was just gonna have a CO2 measure, and then I bought this thing that had like a bunch of stuff, like humidity and different gases and the radon and stuff like that. Uh, and I learned a lot about how air actually works. So now you can see like the humidity is incredibly low here, which is interesting because it's super humid outside, but it's also super, super cold. So what's happening is that the air that's like ventilating here has like uh, high percentage of humidity, but it's very, very cold. So when it enters the room, it expands because the temperature warms up the air. And then that 80% humidity becomes like 20% humidity. And then I bought like a humidifier, which is like running like crazy. I'm getting another one that's better later today, actually, because when the humidifier I'm using now is running, it's giving false readings on these like particle things because it doesn't have a filter. So the one I'm getting today has a filter, and my partner is going crazy because I'm blaming everything on humidity these days. Let's see. Perfect. I fixed the issue. Here's what I changed. Extracts mentions from the to-dos rich text, but also queries for messages in the conversation and extracts. Before I add a retry mechanism. Oh yeah, because I added that to the function uses all mention. Yeah, exactly. And when you create with a task mention and then wrote the message mention, but the cloud function only looked at it to this rich text. It never checked the initial messages rich text, so those mentions were ignored. Okay. Checks both the to-dos and all messages in the conversation. Okay, because initially I would do this client side. And I think we're gonna. No, can we do that? Okay. Okay, this is interesting because initially I didn't use the trigger to find the mentions. I would actually use the client. And I'm actually thinking now that we should rather use the client to manipulate the because I believe the conversation has a property of mentioned users, right? So I think we're going to allow the client to actually manipulate this array because it's just much, much simpler. So that the trigger doesn't have to look through all messages and then have to evaluate a bunch of stuff. It's like whenever you write a message in the client and you basically create that message, it's gonna update the conversations with any mentions. So don't make any changes, but please, does this make sense to you? I'm seeing so much tension on the web, like in my little lens, on AI being like really taking over coding. And I feel like it's kind of sad because, of course, AI is going to take over coding. Like, I don't understand why people push against that. Uh, it's just a question of when. And of course there are like pitfalls now. But of course, it's gonna, like, this is the new programming language. What's it called? Human text? No. What's it called? Natural language is the new programming language. Yeah, I find it interesting. And I wonder if it's like the psychology of this is just people are afraid of change, like for any new technology. Afraid of change, afraid that it's going to take their jobs, afraid of something getting lost. And of course, a true concern that if people embrace this too early, it's going to create a lot of mistakes. But this is coming. Like you can't push. You have to embrace it. You can't like distance yourself from this. Then you are fucked. So I think the thing that makes these systems not work currently is not because they're not like intelligent enough. It's because they have a hard time validating. So I listened to this interview between some gaming person and Jonathan Blow, which is also a gaming person. And this other person talked about AI and how he was using it to fix bugs in his game. And Jonathan being like created his own programming language, being very low level. He was very skeptical about that. But the thing is, and this other guy gave an example, and Jonathan tried to describe like the different kinds of bugs and what AI is good at fixing and what is not good at fixing. And it made me reflect, and I can't remember exactly what he said. He said something about like how connected is the piece of code that has the bug with other pieces of code. Like how does the AI build its complete mental model of the actual problem? And the more connected the core of the problem, the more connections the core of the problem has, the more difficult it is for an AI to. I think that's what he said. But I want to say it's something else. It's its ability to reproduce specific states in the app or game or whatever it is. So one thing is when you look at the code, it doesn't have state, right? It's just a static thing. That's why we call it static code. And you can catch bugs there. You might be casting wrong. You can infer it by reading the static code, what is wrong. Maybe it's not following a best practice. Like there's a different way to express that same code. And like you're using a method that doesn't exist. Like there's a lot of things you can fix by just looking at static code. And AI is really excellent at doing that. Where it falls short though is when you need to actually start the program and produce a specific state in that program. It being a game, it being a web app, it being a process running on a server, doesn't matter. And we are not good enough to create environments to run the app or run the program for an AI. So an AI can't play the actual game, right? An AI typically can't actually run the app. A game can't, an AI can't typically run the full infrastructure with your server, with your app, with your database, everything, and then try to do the thing and reproduce and all this stuff. But when it's able to do that, and this is what we're also seeing now, is how they're integrating web browsers into these AI tools so that the AI can, as naturally as it looks at code, it can actually interact with the app and test it. And reproduce the states, right? Because that's where the real bugs are. It's in state. It's not in static code. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Let's say, yes, this makes perfect sense. Your reasoning is solid. Okay, cool. But then I think we should make this refactor. So to summarize for myself, we're not going to use a trigger to create these, to detect these mentions of people and teams. We are rather going to, as we write messages related to a to-do, we're going to check if it's the first message. We're going to look at any mentions in the to-do itself and the first message. Like, are there any mentions? And then we're going to add these people and teams. Maybe we don't even need teams, thinking about it. Maybe we just need user mentions, because in the client, if there's a team that's mentioned, you have access to all the people in that team. So I'm thinking we should try to remove the actual team mentions property from the conversation. Just have user IDs. Anyways, and as you're adding new messages to the conversation, we're also going to look at the actual message. And we're going to change this conversation array. This user ID array on the conversation. And then the trigger is going to generate the to-dos for these other people. What's really great about this is if I am mentioned on a conversation and I choose to like tick off that to do, then I can also remove myself from that array, right? So that if someone else mentions me again later, it's going to create a new to do for me that I need to get back into the conversation. So I think this makes a lot of sense. Please take all this information, summarize it, and tell me what you want to do to make this happen. You know, the thing I love about like doing dictation like this, especially using Flow, because it's not like pure dictation of what I'm saying. It's taking what I'm saying and distilling it with AI and creating an actual sensible output, is that I say many things verbosely. Wow, that was fast. I say it verbosely and I repeat it, which is really good for an AI. This is much cleaner. Extract mentions from rich text, result team mentions to user IDs, manage participant user IDs on conversations, allow users to remove themselves from conversation when completing their to-do. React to participant user IDs, changes generated for newly added, that's it. No more searching through, no more team logic. Remove mention team IDs. Yes, exactly. This is perfect. Yes, this is perfect. Go ahead and implement. By the way, I'm also working on, I'm getting a new computer because I'm currently, because I'm technically a contractor at Together, even though it's like a full-time kind of thing, and I'm, yeah, whatever. And I need to get an actual Together computer, which I'm gonna get by the end of the month. But then I have my setup here, which gonna be nice, because then my personal computer is actually my personal computer. But now I have this problem of my Mac Mini here, and I'm gonna use this for work as well. I've been looking at these freaking switches and hubs to figure out how I can easily change, like use the same monitor and keyboard and trackpad, and then, but it's expensive. Like if you want to automate it so that you kind of click a button to flip between them, it costs like 400 euros. It's insane. But it's because of my freaking, I have the studio display with like an insanely high resolution, and that's the reason it's so expensive. But yeah, I figured out I can rather use like this hub thing, and I can just like, I have like one Thunderbolt cable that I just change between the Mac Mini and the other computer, and then it won't be as expensive. Morning, Adam. How you doing? Happy New Year. Yeah, let's see. Let's go in and remove the... We're going to do the demo again. Conversations. And then to-dos, delete collection. What I really like about this is that so you could argue that it's a security risk that I allow the client to do so many things, but the point of this app is that you have your organization and everything's transparent in that organization. So anyone can technically like they can read any to-do. They can like create to-dos on behalf of others, and so on and so on. But the point is that you're in the same organization, you're working together. The whole point is to have like a transparent, open space. And if you want to have, yeah, Mac prices. Yeah, because the thing is, what I like about this is that, so what I'm doing, I'm merging like Linear and Slack into like one thing. And what I like about that is that Slack is now, so there's this whole thing of like jumping between Slack and Linear, which is like just horrible. But also because Slack is becoming partially like this personal direct messaging thing, where you kind of feel bad often. I do. Like if there's something I don't like about my work environment, for example, I might like discuss this with a colleague on direct messaging, and I feel really, really bad because I'm kind of using my employer's like space to discuss that. So I think it makes a lot more sense that you rather have an app that's like the actual workplace, which is this is trying to be. Like this is where you have your work conversations, your tasks, like everything that's happening in the company. And then there's a different solution for something personal. Or you can do something like Gather HQ, which is like this really, really cool, like digital office kind of thing, where you kind of just go to people and talk to them. Okay, nice. So I guess we're gonna deploy that. Ban. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not sure if we actually have time to review anything. I'm really pumped about something I'm working on. So we'll have to do that review later, but let's see if we can run the demo again after this deploy is done. Oh. By the way, I made some changes to Divergent to-dos. It's really, really cool. Sure, can I show it? I'm just gonna see if I have anything that's like... Yeah, oh, that's fine. So what I did is... Oh, shit. Yeah, I thought I would have that. Oh, this is interesting. I certainly didn't work that long. Yeah, that's interesting because you can forget to close it. Anyways, so the point is, what I did to Divergent to-dos is now you can navigate using the keyboard. And you can still use it as normal, like it has the same interactions. But as you can see, it now has this indication when it was last updated. And then it also has these minutes. And there's different kinds of minutes. You have these like light bulb minutes, and then you have these other minutes. And the point is that I used to have this time box feature, but time box is such an ephemeral, not ephemeral, but abstract concept, where I think one thing is like how this app is trying to get you to own your attention again, but another thing is focus. So when you actually choose to give attention to something, are you able to focus solely on that task or that to-do for a longer period of time? So what I do now is that we can take this one. So when I hit, you don't have to do this. That's the nice thing, is that if I hit F here, I focus, and it's gonna count the number of minutes that you're focusing on that task, but you don't just add the minutes. You actually tell it, did I focus without distraction or did I focus with distraction? And then you can have like multiple sessions on the same to-do, and it just keeps accumulating all the time. And this is not to track the time you spend on something. This is to track your ability to actually focus without distraction. So every week in the summary, I haven't implemented this yet, but it's actually going to look at your to-dos and how much time you spend on them, and how much, what's your average ability to focus on something. So there's going to be like a single number of like, okay, 10 minutes is your ability to stay focused. Anything above that, you typically get distracted, right? And then over a year, you can kind of train up that ability to stay focused. That's the idea with this. So it's not only like owning your attention, it's training your focus as well, which I think is really, really interesting. And it really kind of, it makes the divergent to-dos a lot more, it makes a lot more sense as well. Because it's not just, okay, you're just going to write down something and everything else is up to you. It actually has... What do you mean, max temp? Okay, let's see. So let's do the demo again. So I am Christian. I just joined the company. Jill is from Human Resources. Oh, it's minus 15 degrees here today. So Jill is going to say onboard Christian. Boom. And as I mentioned, adding this to do is just adding the to do. Nothing has happened yet. So Jill could like put this on a later day because she doesn't have time to help me get onboarded. But let's imagine she wants to do it right away. Hi, Christian. How are you doing? Oh, that's insane. Well, it's insane, but still very fascinating. Like, if you think about the temperature of the sun and all that like light and warmth, I guess is the term, reaches the earth, and then you have like the ozone layer and all our layers, that we kind of get that small of a difference in temperature. Like space is like minus, what is it? Like minus almost 300 degrees or something. The fucking sun is like millions of degrees. and then somehow we only have 60 degrees difference. Like, yeah, it's just fascinating to me. I wonder what the temperature is like when, yeah, and like the spinning of the Earth, like if it spins slower, it will get way colder, right? So it's like the perfect spin. It just blows my mind that we're able to live on this planet. Anyway, so now I'm acting on this, right? So I'm saying, hi Christian, how you doing? And what's happening in the background now, and again, it's a little bit slow because the trigger is cold. It's, well, hopefully it's working. It sees that, oh, we start a conversation, and the conversation has this user, and it's not been handled yet. So I'm going to create a to-do for that person. But it's going to look, oh, fuck, was that the problem? Oh, yeah, let's see what happens now. I think this is going to break. Because I was going to... Yeah, this is a problem. We have to add the to-do ID on the conversation. I don't think this trigger is going to run at all. Yeah, I wonder what it would write. Oh, okay. Oh, what? Wait. Yeah. Oh, but there's one thing I didn't think about. Like, the trigger, it needs to read the text of the to-do, right? And now when I create a conversation from the client, it doesn't know anything about the to-do. I'm just adding the user IDs, right? So how does the trigger know about the to-do? Could you verify that this is true? That the trigger won't really be able to read the to-do? Don't make any changes. Let's just discuss this. Yeah. So the question now is, when we create a conversation, should we add a reference to a to-do? Wait, don't we do that? Let's look at, this is the first time looking at code. So, conversation. Oh, we do have reference, sorry. Oh no. With open cloud function triggers on create. Yeah, to fetch the to do. Yeah. Ah. Okay, great. Please fix it. All right, let's try again. To-dos. Okay, let's deploy again. Yeah, I'm working on this really, really cool concept now, and I really hope like it's a product idea. And product ideas are difficult because one thing is, it's not enough to like just create something cool. Everybody can agree that like, oh, this is really, really cool, we should try this. But you have to defend it. Like, are people actually asking? Would people ask for this? Does it actually provide value? And it's like a high abstraction. So it's like, But do people want that high abstraction? Don't they want to put the pieces together themselves? All that kind of stuff. So good ideas might not necessarily have a market. That's the thing. But yeah, I guess I can't really talk about it yet. But I certainly will if this becomes a thing. Yeah, did I have any Oh yeah, I do have. Yeah, no, I don't have any meetings. Nice. I'm gonna be working on my idea. Let's see. Yeah, and I'm not sure what's gonna happen next for Divergent teams. I'm gonna create like a video and demo it to some other people and ask them what they think to kind of get that initial feedback, and then hopefully they're pumped about it. But I'm like, it's a big project. That's the thing. If it's actually going to be a thing, it's a big project. So I'm not in a position to actually do something about it now, but yeah, so the goal is really to just record that demo and get some people I know excited about it. And then I'm still working on Divergent to-dos, but it's moving really slow. Just because I have a different job. But I'm gonna make some changes to this new focus feature. I'm gonna get some feedback on that as well. And then, yeah, I have a meeting next week with someone I'm working on it with. And then we're gonna define a marketing activity, and then I'm gonna try to get some users, because I don't have a single user, I think, other than a couple of colleagues and like 3 people, including me. But again, I'm still using it every day, so it definitely has value. Okay, cool. Let's see. Jill Jellybean. As we said, Jill is gonna onboard this new employee. Onboard Christian. And as I mentioned, this doesn't do anything until hi Christian. And now this should trigger the trigger. And as I mentioned, what's interesting about this is that it's going to take the text of the to-do of Jill. It's going to flip the perspective using AI. So it, yeah, as you can see, Jill Jellybean would like to onboard you. When I click it, we share the same conversation. So 2 different to-dos. I have my to-do and Jill has her to-do. Yeah, it is going great. And then Jill is going to say, I added you to the support team, and I was thinking you could work on what you think. Okay, and then oh, interesting. Oh, there's the support team. Yeah, nice. And then, okay, some task. And then, yeah, I'm gonna work on it. Yeah, maybe instead of create to do, it should be assign to me. Yeah, should change that. But anyways, I'm gonna click create to do. So now we have a to do that's related to this task. And I have my to do there. Okay, great. I assign myself Thanks for the help. Cool. And then Jill is gonna see, okay, he's fine. I'm gonna check. Oh, we don't, I haven't added that yet. We need to add that as well. So you can actually complete to-dos. Anyways, so now I'm working on this task, blah, blah, blah. And then I have a question. Hey, Jill, I am confused. Yeah, I'm very interested in what's going to be generated here. Because I think like it would be interesting to have the actual text of the message. So one thing is having a mention in the to-do. Another thing is having a mention in the text. Yeah, let's just see. Okay, I'm gonna ask first. Okay, great. That worked now. But what happens now when I create let's just see what happens. Could you help me? So what's gonna happen now? It's generating a conversation for this thing. And then, yeah, I'm very curious what kind of to-do it's gonna create. And even if it creates it. Yeah, exactly. Oh, unknown user. That's interesting. Okay. I'm trying to think about how they differ. So one thing is when I did this, hi Christian, there was no mention there. And what would happen if I were to mention someone else? So I think like the AI needs to kind of have yeah, this is probably way more complex than I thought. And why does it say unknown user? That's weird. Oh. Oh yeah. Okay, I'm getting too many thoughts in my head. What's the relationship between the actual to-do? No, I think I just have to think about this. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm thinking now is that if I create a conversation, yeah, this one's difficult because what's happening like technically here is that I'm creating conversation and that creates a trigger. Because I create conversation first, then I attach a message to that conversation. But the trigger is on the conversation, so we don't have the context of the message. And we kind of want to, yeah, like what do we even want to do here? Like for an AI, it would, in this specific scenario, it would need the context of the to-do and the message. Maybe so maybe we shouldn't have the trigger on the conversation. Maybe we should have the trigger on the message. No, it needs to be on the conversation because that's where you control the mentions. But we also need a message, I think. Okay, what if we do it like this? Maybe we don't even have mentions on the conversation. What we do is that we're going to have a trigger on the messages. And then what we can check is if this message on this conversation is the first message, we're going to go and get the actual to do as well, for context. Well, or we're always going to go and get the to do for context. Yeah, okay, we're going to try something else. Okay, but testing this, I think we need to make a change. I want to suggest that we don't have participant user IDs on the conversation at all. We're rather going to create a trigger on the message. So basically the way this is going to work is that when we trigger on a message, we're going to go and look up the conversation, and we're going to look up the related reference of that conversation, which is currently a to-do. And then we're going to give the AI the context of the actual to-do text and the text of the message to allow it to generate the to-do of any mentions. Yeah, and that's basically it. And then I guess the thing... So the thing I'm reflecting on is... Okay, so there is one additional rule here, and that is if... So, okay, so by default, a message that has a mention in it is going to be what's going to generate a to-do for that mention, for that other person. But if it's the first message of the conversation, it's also going to use the actual to-do itself to generate that other to-do if it has mentions. So there's a special rule for the first message. Does this make sense? Don't make any changes. Just repeat or summarize and tell me what you think. I have to open the window because my CO2 levels are dropping. Okay, let's see. Let me summarize. Data model, remove participant conversations become simpler, just a reference to a to-do, and metadata. New message trigger on document created for messages. Look up the conversation from the message path. Look up the reference to do. Via conversation reference ID, extract mentions from the message. If this is the also extract mentions from the to do. Yeah. Yeah, how to detect, that's the one. Query the messages and check count. Or check if conversation was just created. Yeah, this one's interesting. Yeah, but we already do this. Yeah, but this sucks. Yeah, it triggers for every message. Even messages without mentions. Uh, okay, great. This is a good summary. Could you please tell me more about point 3 here? Because is it possible for us to not trigger the function call at all if there aren't any mentions? Don't we have to actually load the message to see if there are any mentions? And then the thing is that this, when we try to generate a to do, we can figure out if this other user has an incomplete to do with that conversation. Yeah, to check the okay. Okay, so what am I thinking? I am thinking that okay, so what I'm thinking is that the trigger has to run on every message, and then we're going to look at the list of mentions in that message. If it doesn't have any mentions, we still have to figure out if it's the first message, and we have to get back to how we're going to identify that. But if it does have mentions, we are going to generate a to do for those people. Like if it's a person mention, it's like a single person, or if it's a team mention, we're going to look at all the people in that team. And I believe already we check if that person has a to do with the current conversation ID as an incomplete to do or a completed to do. Because we're only going to generate a to do if the other person doesn't have a to do with the conversation ID or has a to do with the conversation ID, but it's completed. Does that make sense? Just keep summarizing until we get to the bottom of everything. Message. I'm going to check message for mention member ID, special handling. For each mentioned user, check if they needed to do. Okay, great. Query messages collection. Yeah. I'm always check. It's simpler and limits the edge case detection. Yeah, I don't like option B, that's for sure. And option A, we need to count we need to count the documents. So for every message that doesn't have a mention, we need to count the documents. This one's so difficult. Ideally, we would just look at the message. If it doesn't have any mentions, don't do anything. That would be the best approach. Oh, oh, this sucks. I'm not sure what we're gonna do here. So we could also kind of hack it in the sense that we're actually gonna, when we write the first message in the client, we could just bring in the mention of the, oh, that's gonna break. It's gonna break it. Yeah, no, we can't do that. What are we going to do? Oh, what if we just put it as a flag on the message? Is first message. Yeah. Oh, but what if we like, because we are giving a lot of control to the client here, since it's Firebase and everything's closed within the organization anyways. What if we just allow the client to add is first message flag to the message? That would simplify it, right? Yeah, that's way simpler. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense to me. Okay, great. Just give me like a final summary of what you intend to do before I give you the green light. Update share types, remove participant user IDs, add is first message boolean to message interface, remove all participant management when creating new conversation, set is first on the initial when adding to access set. Leave conversation. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, we should not have leave conversation. Trigger on document created. Extract mentions from message. If is first also extract mentions from the reference to do. Combine all mentions. Result teams for each mention queried. Delete, archive all trigger. So I don't want to have leave conversation at all. We actually haven't implemented completing a to-do yet. We're going to do that later. But for now, just drop the leave conversation. There is no such concept. Additionally, I want to make sure that when we actually generate the to-do for the other users, it needs to be a combination of the actual to-do text and the current message, right? So I think the instructions currently are very strict to kind of just flip the perspective of the original to-do. And that's still true, but we should also bring into the context the actual message that caused the to-do to be created. Yes, that's it. Nice. So, trigger logic. Extract mentions from message rich text. If true, also extract mentions from reference to do. Combine all mentions, resolve teams to user IDs. For each mention user query, does user have to do with conversation? If no to do or to do is completed, generate new to do. If incomplete to do exists, skip. AI context includes original to do text from reference to do. Current message that triggered this. Still flip perspective. Would like to where to make the more specific relevant. Exactly. Perfect. Do it. I'm getting hungry. Yeah, we're gonna deploy this now and just test it. I'm gonna stop the stream, eat some food, and then dive into my other stuff. Yeah. Yep. I wonder if I have gotten any more divergent to-dos. No. Right. Oh, yeah. Oh, 52. No. Yeah, no. I think some people are trying it though, because I have a few anonymous users, but yeah, nobody's actually signing up other than people I've explicitly exposed it to and asked them to try it. Yeah, it's interesting how to get like attention to something on the web. I also want to. I have a friend who's like he's a 3D artist or digital artist, I guess, because he does a lot of different things. And I really want to create like a 2-minute introduction to divergent to dos, but I'm afraid to do so because, well, maybe we can do that because I want him to create some visuals, but I want it to be like an introduction of the actual app. But the stuff that he would create would be the generic value based stuff. And then I can still like change the video if I like change the UI or I add or remove features and everything. Because those visuals would only be, yeah. Okay, changes made, blah, blah, blah. Let's deploy and then get some food in me. Yes. What was I gonna do? Yeah, I wanted to. Yeah, currently there's a sound in Divergent to do's when you like click. Yeah, how to deal with forgetting to. Yeah, that's a tricky one. Like, because I was focusing on something to the end of the day yesterday, and then I forgot to like stop it. And then this morning I had like 10 hours of focus on something, which is not true. And I kind of had to like exit it to not track like bad time. But again, I don't think that's an issue. Like if that happens, just kind of exit. The whole point isn't to track the time you spend on things. It's to track your ability to focus on things. But people would most likely misunderstand that. Yeah, and maybe we shouldn't actually show the focus time on the to-dos because it looks like you're tracking time. Yeah, and maybe you shouldn't even show the minutes, right? You should just remove the whole concept of minutes because it feels like you're tracking the thing, or you're literally doing like time tracking, and that's not the point at all. But then what if you forget to? This is tricky. Yeah, no, I'm not sure. What were we doing? We were testing. Okay, let's test one more time. But we're not gonna continue fixing stuff if it's still broken. Okay, cool. Jill, onboard Christian. Hi, Christian. Oh, fuck. Did it just not get the query? Oh, for fuck's sake. Didn't it even create it? That's weird. Hi, Christian. Oh, interesting. Okay, let's just think of that as a bug. And hopefully it still does what it's supposed to do. This is taking a bit too long. Yeah. This is taking too long. Fuck. didn't work. Ah. Oh, is first message false? That's weird. Oh, because there's a conversation ID. Ah, for fuck's sake. Let's just try something. Messages, conversations. Let's just delete conversations. See what the hell happened there. So we still have our to do, and then let's bring up this thing. Hi, Christian. Oh, that's weird. Oh, I didn't refresh, did I? Oh, for fuck's sake. So I think it used the conversation ID from the... Yeah, exactly. Fuck. Delete conversation. Ah! Let's just delete the to-dos. Well, yeah, let's just delete it. What the hell happened here? Onboard Christian. Do this. Hi, Christian. But it did create a conversation, right? So something bad is happening. When I create a to-do, I open it to add my first message. Nothing happens when I add the message. It does not create a conversation, and it does not add the message either. And there's nothing in the logs, like the console log. Do you see what's wrong? Oh. Okay. Yeah, but I have to stop. So I'm gonna work more on this later, and then yeah. Cool. Speak soon. Bye.